stop what you're doing right now, because what I'm about to share could completely change the way you think about money. Let me ask you something. How often do you feel overwhelmed by your finances? Whether it's budgeting, saving, or investing, it feels like there's always this pressure to do things the right way. But here's the kicker. What if the problem isn't that you're doing things wrong, but that you're looking at money all wrong? Yes, trust me on this. The key to mastering your finances isn't in traditional financial advice. It's in something far more practical, something that can give you real, actionable results without all the stress and complexity. It's called pragmatism. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how this philosophy can revolutionize your relationship with money, making it work for you, not against you. Stick around, because I'm about to lay out a strategy that's simple, powerful, and might just shake up everything you thought you knew about managing your finances. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a game changer. Number 1, stop saving, start investing. You know the advice we've all heard a million times, right? Save, save, save. It's drilled into our heads from a young age. But what if I told you that saving might actually be holding you back from achieving true financial freedom? Yes, you heard me right. Saving can sometimes be the problem, not the solution. Now you might be thinking, wait, are you telling me to stop saving money completely? No, not exactly. But hear me out. We've all been there, scrimping and saving every penny, trying to build up a little nest egg for a rainy day. It feels good to see that savings account grow, doesn't it? But here's the thing. In today's economy, saving money in a traditional savings account just isn't enough. Inflation eats away at your savings like a silent thief. And let's be real, the interest you're getting from that savings account, it's basically nothing. So, what's the alternative? It's time to stop thinking of saving as the ultimate financial goal and start thinking about how to make your money work for you. Start investing. Now, I know this may sound a bit controversial. After all, we've been conditioned to fear anything that feels risky, especially when it comes to money. But hear me out. Investing doesn't mean throwing your money into some random stock hoping for the best. No. It means choosing places where your money can grow over time. The stock market, real estate, even certain types of bonds. The idea here is simple. Stop hoarding cash and start putting it in places that will generate more cash for you. The earlier you start, the more you benefit from compound interest. Trust me, it's worth it. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I had a friend, Sarah. She was the queen of saving, always putting money aside, never splurging, always looking for the best deals. But after years of saving, she realized something. She wasn't really getting anywhere. Sure, her savings account was looking nice, but inflation was creeping in, and the money was barely growing. Then she took a leap of faith. She started investing in index funds, with just a small portion of her savings at first. A year later, she saw a return that was way higher than anything her savings account could offer. Sure, there were some ups and downs, but the growth was real. And it was just the beginning. Her mindset shifted from, I have to save every penny, to, I want my money to work for me. Sarah wasn't taking crazy risks. She was being strategic. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about reclaiming control over your finances. It's about giving yourself the freedom to enjoy life now while building your future. This mindset doesn't just change your bank balance, it changes your mental approach to money. Instead of fearing loss, you start embracing the idea that smart risk-taking, when done wisely, pays off in ways saving just can't. And the best part? You don't have to be a financial expert to get started. You can start small and grow as you learn. So, here's the bottom line. If you're serious about your financial future, it's time to stop thinking of savings as your golden ticket. Start investing today, even if it's just a little bit. You'll be surprised at what you can achieve when you take that leap. Your money can be a tool for freedom, for opportunities, and for growth. Don't let it sit there, stagnant and unproductive. Take control. Your future self will thank you for it. Number 2, ditch the budget. Embrace the flow. Imagine this. You're sitting down, staring at your budget spreadsheet for the 3rd time this week. You've tracked every expense, categorized everything to perfection, and yet you still feel like you're stuck. How often have you heard the advice to budget more carefully or cut out unnecessary expenses? It's like a broken record, right? Now you might be thinking, but wait, isn't budgeting the key to managing my money? Yes, trust me, I get it, but hear me out. What if I told you that rigid budgeting might actually be limiting your financial freedom instead of giving you more control? We've all been there, painstakingly cutting out every small expense, only to end up stressed and feeling deprived. You know the type. I can't buy that coffee because it's $4, or I really shouldn't go out tonight, even though I'd love to. It's a cycle that drains your energy and motivation. The problem with strict budgeting is that it often leads to a sense of scarcity. Instead of enjoying your money and feeling empowered by your choices, you're stuck in a mental loop of guilt and restrictions. So what if I told you there's a better way? A way that doesn't require hours of calculations or a constant struggle to stick to the plan. It's time to ditch the budget and embrace the flow. What does that mean exactly? It's about getting comfortable with flexibility instead of obsessing over every penny. You don't have to track every dollar or feel guilty about occasional splurges. Instead, focus on understanding your spending habits, then adjust them naturally over time. The key here is awareness, not restriction. The flow doesn't mean abandoning your financial goals. It's about living in the moment while ensuring your future is still taken care of. Let me give you an example from my own life. A few months ago, I was obsessively trying to stick to a budget I created. Every time I'd splurge, whether it was on a meal with friends or a new gadget I really wanted, I'd feel this heavy weight on my shoulders. I was constantly tracking, double-checking, and readjusting, but it wasn't making me feel more in control. It was making me feel more stressed. Then I decided to experiment with the flow method. I stopped obsessing over tracking every cent. Instead, I made a general plan, kept an eye on my spending habits, and allowed myself the freedom to spend where it brought value. Guess what happened? Not only did I start feeling more at ease with my finances, but I also started saving more without trying so hard. I wasn't fixated on the rules, and that mindset shift made all the difference. This isn't just about money, it's about reclaiming your mental space. Constantly tightening the reins on your spending can feel like you're suffocating, but embracing the flow allows you to breathe again. You start to trust yourself with your financial choices. You'll stop over-explaining why you made a purchase or feeling guilty for treating yourself. It's about giving yourself permission to live fully without sacrificing your future. At the end of the day, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. So let go of the need to control every single dollar. The flow is about being conscious, intentional, and flexible. It's not about being reckless, but about striking a balance that works for you. Your money should feel like a tool for freedom, not a source of anxiety. And that shift? It's powerful. You're not just handling your finances better, you're handling life better. The next time you catch yourself stressing over every little purchase, remember, embrace the flow. Your peace, your freedom, and your confidence are worth it. Number 3, use debt as a wealth-building tool. Here's a thought that might sound a little controversial. What if I told you that debt could actually be your ally? Yes, you heard that right. The very thing most people avoid, dread, or try to pay off as fast as possible could be the key to unlocking a wealthier future. I know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but stay with me here. Debt isn't always the villain it's made out to be. Now, I know what you're thinking. Debt as a wealth-building tool. Isn't that the exact opposite of what we've been taught? Yes, trust me on this one. It's all about how you use it. We've all heard the standard advice, right? Stay away from debt. And for most people, it's a rule that's been drilled into us since we could walk. The problem is that while we're busy avoiding debt, we might also be avoiding opportunities that could lead to greater financial freedom. You know the type. Someone who's so terrified of taking on any debt that they end up stagnating in a low-paying job, unable to move forward in life. We've all been there, feeling like debt is this looming monster ready to swallow us whole. But here's the twist. Not all debt is created equal. In fact, used wisely, debt can actually work for you, not against you. So how does that work? The secret lies in using good debt to invest in things that will grow your wealth over time. Think real estate, education, or even a business venture. These are the kinds of debts that can give you a return far greater than the interest you're paying. When used strategically, debt doesn't hold you back. It accelerates your growth. Let me explain why this works. The interest rate on a low-interest loan is typically lower than the potential return you can earn from an investment. If you borrow money to buy an income-generating asset, like a rental property or stocks, you're using the debt to make money rather than simply paying it off. The key here is that the asset you're investing in grows in value or generates income, while your debt remains manageable. Let me give you a real-world example. A few years ago, a close friend of mine, Mike, was in a tough spot. He had some savings, but he was working a job that wasn't going to get him far. One day, he decided to take out a small loan and use it to invest in a property. The rent he collected more than covered his mortgage payments. Not only was he able to pay off the loan over time, but the property also appreciated in value. Fast forward a few years, and Mike is now making money from his property. And the debt? It's long gone. He used the debt as a stepping stone to create long-term wealth, instead of letting it hold him back. This is about shifting your mindset. Debt doesn't have to be the enemy. It can be the tool you use to unlock doors that were previously out of reach. You can still be responsible, of course. I'm not talking about blowing money on things you don't need or falling into reckless spending. But strategically using debt to build assets is about reclaiming control over your financial future. It's about seeing debt not as something that ties you down, but as something that can help you rise. Imagine what you could do with the right kind of debt. It's about taking action now for the life you want to live later. It's about freeing yourself from the confines of just getting by and moving toward building real wealth. So next time you hear someone say, "Avoid debt at all costs," think about whether that's really the best strategy. There's a smarter way to work with debt, not against it. Your space, your peace, and your financial freedom are within reach, and sometimes debt can be the very tool that gets you there. Number 4, rewire your mindset. Money isn't the goal, freedom is. What if I told you that money isn't the goal? It's not the end game. Yes, I know it sounds counterintuitive, especially in a world where it feels like everything revolves around earning, saving, and spending. But here's the truth. Money is just a tool. The real goal? Freedom. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, and live life on your own terms. Now, I know what you're thinking. But if I don't have money, how do I get to that freedom? I get it. It's a tough shift, but hear me out. Once you stop seeing money as the end goal and start seeing it as a means to an end, everything changes. We've all been there, working long hours, grinding day in and day out, all with the hope of building up enough savings to finally take that vacation, buy the dream house, or just stop worrying about bills. It's exhausting, right? And sometimes it feels like no matter how hard you work, you're still stuck on this never-ending hamster wheel. The more you earn, the more you think you need to earn. You know the type, always chasing the next paycheck, the next promotion, the next raise, never feeling like you've reached the finish line. It's a cycle that leaves you feeling drained and unfulfilled. But here's the thing, you don't need more money to find that freedom. You just need to rewire your mindset. The real secret to financial freedom is not accumulating as much money as you can, but learning to manage the money you have in a way that supports the freedom you crave. It's about aligning your resources with your values. Instead of focusing on buying things or stacking up wealth for the sake of wealth, focus on using your money to give you options. The goal isn't a bigger paycheck, it's the ability to spend your time however you want. It's the ability to leave work early without worrying about losing income, or go on a spontaneous trip because you have the freedom to. Money can give you the choice to live a life that doesn't revolve around constant work and stress. It's freedom that you should be chasing, not just money. Let me give you a quick personal example. A few years ago, I was all about the hustle. I had a side business, a full-time job, and barely any time to enjoy life. I was making money, but it was at the expense of my time and peace of mind. One day I sat down and thought, what am I actually working for? The answer was simple. I wasn't working for money. I was working for freedom. But the irony was that I wasn't living freely at all. So I made a change. I started focusing on how I could make my money work for me, not just how I could earn more. I invested in passive income streams and became intentional about my spending. The result? I found that I didn't need to work all the time to have the life I wanted. I could still make money, but the money didn't control my time. Now I have more freedom to do the things I love and still have financial security. Rewiring your mindset to see money as a tool for freedom is about reclaiming your time and mental space. It's about understanding that the real treasure isn't just in your bank account, but in your ability to live without financial stress. When you shift your focus to freedom, you stop over-explaining why you're working so hard or justifying why you need more money. You start to understand that it's not the accumulation of wealth that matters, but how you can use what you have to create a life full of choices. Your money should be working for you, not the other way around. It's time to step away from the endless grind and begin living life on your own terms. Freedom isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. So take a deep breath and think about it. What if you stopped chasing money and started chasing freedom? Your peace, your time, and your life are waiting for you. Rewire your mindset today, and you'll see that freedom isn't just a dream, it's a choice. Number 5, cut out the guilt in spending. What if I told you that you could stop feeling guilty every time you spend money? Sounds impossible, right? But trust me, it's not. You don't have to suffer through that constant voice in your head telling you that you shouldn't be spending, that you're making a mistake, or that you're not being responsible. Imagine for a second if you could just spend without guilt, knowing that it's not only okay, but actually healthy to spend on the things that matter to you. Now, I know what you're thinking, but doesn't that mean I'll go on a spending spree and blow through my savings? I get it. It sounds a little too good to be true, but stay with me here. We've all been there. You're eyeing something you really want. Maybe it's a nice dinner out, a new pair of shoes, or a vacation you've been dreaming about. And then, bam, the guilt hits. You start questioning if it's responsible to spend on that thing. even though it'll bring you joy or make your life a little easier. You start mentally justifying it, debating whether you deserve it. You know the type, constantly checking your budget, second-guessing every purchase. The truth is, that kind of thinking isn't doing you any favors. It's draining, it's stressful, and it takes away from the very enjoyment you should be having when you spend money. So here's the secret. Cut out the guilt. Let me explain how. The key is understanding that money isn't inherently bad or good. It's just a tool that can either create stress or create opportunities for joy, freedom, and growth. The problem with guilt is that it distorts the way we see money. We start seeing it as something to fear, something to hold on to too tightly, and that fear ends up limiting us from enjoying life in the way we deserve. You see, the real reason we feel guilty is because we've been conditioned to view spending as a negative act. But spending can be empowering. It can be a way to invest in yourself, your happiness, and your well-being. I'll give you a real-life example. Not too long ago, I found myself debating whether or not to buy a plane ticket to a destination I've always wanted to visit. I'd been planning the trip for months, but when it came time to pull the trigger, the guilt crept in. Is this really a good use of my money? Couldn't I use it for something more practical, I thought. But then I realized something. That trip wasn't just an expense, it was an investment in my mental health, in experiences that would enrich my life, and in creating memories that would last forever. The guilt wasn't based on logic, it was just a product of my mindset. So I bought the ticket, guilt-free, and when I got back from that trip, I felt rejuvenated, inspired, and thankful that I had allowed myself to experience something that brought me so much joy. Cutting out guilt doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean ignoring your budget or throwing caution to the wind. It means giving yourself permission to enjoy life and spend on what truly matters to you without that cloud of shame hanging over you. It's about recognizing that sometimes the things we feel guilty about are actually the things that nourish us the most, whether it's a night out with friends, investing in a course to improve yourself, or simply treating yourself to something that makes you happy. This shift is about reclaiming your peace. It's about telling yourself that you're allowed to spend in a way that aligns with your values and your happiness. Because at the end of the day, life is about more than just saving or hoarding money. It's about using it to create a life that feels rich in experience, connection, and joy. So, let go of the guilt. You've worked hard for your money, and you deserve to spend it on the things that make you feel alive. Remember, spending doesn't have to come with an emotional price tag. Your money can be a source of empowerment, not shame. So next time you're about to spend, ask yourself, is this investment helping me live a fuller life? And if the answer is yes, then don't hold back. Embrace the freedom to spend guilt-free and watch how it transforms your relationship with money and with yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some fresh, actionable insights on how pragmatism can completely transform the way you approach your finances. If you found value in this, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you want to dive deeper into more practical strategies like this, make sure to subscribe and join the journey. Also, if you think someone you know could benefit from this, share the video with them. They'll thank you for it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know how pragmatism has influenced the way you handle money, or if you've got any experiences or tips to share. Let's keep this conversation going. Remember, managing your finances doesn't have to be about stress or perfection. It's about taking smart, practical steps forward. Keep applying that pragmatic mindset, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay empowered.